Hello and welcome back to the Gamer's Guide to Business. That is the title that we landed on. Really quick, I just want to thank everybody that watched or listened to episode 1. It was really cool to kind of give my background. We've got a lot of amazing things lined up for this podcast. I'm getting a ton of people that are very interested in being on the show and a ton of people that I'm really excited to have on the show. I have one person that is going to talk about community. I have another that is going to be talking about from the actual business side of the affiliate, the actual people that do the affiliate marketing from an amazing company that I'm currently sponsored with. And there's just a lot of feelers out there for amazing guests. And if you want to be on, or you know of somebody that wants to be on, feel free to let them hit me up at DidsLive on any platform. I would love to have them on the show. I think that would be just a really cool conversation. I don't care about the size of the stream or anything like that. If you can bring value, I want you on my podcast. So without further ado, I think today we're going to be diving into influencer deals and how I got my first influencer deals, what I looked for, what went well, what didn't go so well, where I succeeded, where I struggled, and kind of just advice that I would give to anybody who's looking to grow their stream from an income standpoint or from a clout standpoint. I think that there's the clout way of going about it, and then there's the financial way of going about it. And they do cross paths as you grow, but I think initially it is either one or the other. So my first influencer deal was with a t-shirt company, as I mentioned last week. I do forget the name, unfortunately, but what I can say is that it was pretty cool. They sent me a free t-shirt. They hit me up on Instagram. Hey, let's send you this t-shirt. They saw my brand. I don't exactly remember the follower count that I had at that time. I want to say it was like 8,000. I could be wrong, though. I could be 100% wrong. But they sent me a t-shirt. I promoted it on my Instagram feed. It was my highest performing post for quite some time, actually, and it was really cool. It was my first moray into, okay, this is what it feels like. This is what it's like to have an actual, I at the time I was like, oh, sponsor, sweet, but it really wasn't theoretically considered a sponsor. But it was a cool influencer deal. It worked out, I think, for both parties. They made quick $10 t-shirts, and it was cool. It worked out well, and I still have that t-shirt today. It's actually pretty cool. It's a great t-shirt. I love it. But I think that was the moment where I knew that I could have influence, and that I knew that I had influence. I like listening in on people's pivotal moments of when they knew they could be X. I asked a professional hockey player when they knew that they could go pro in hockey, and I loved his answer of, my brother was selected first round in the Q, which is the QMJHL in Quebec. And he's like, I knew that I could too. I was projected first round. I was performing really well. I was the go-to guy on the team when it came down to a tight situation. And for me, that was kind of the moment when I got that first influencer deal that I was like, okay, I think I can do this. So fast forward a little bit, and you look into where I am today and who I have sponsor-wise today. I do want to touch upon kind of the in-betweens. So after that, I was approached by Mainframe, and they are still doing amazing things. I love what they do. I love their logo. Actually, I did not initially know that their logo is like the M and the F, but it looks really cool and fancy, and I suggest you go check it out. It's actually really cool. I love they kind of go with a lifestyle approach to apparel, and I thought that was kind of a really cool contrast to what I was used to seeing. And I was kind of in the back of my head, if I knew what I was doing, was thinking of starting a lifestyle esports sort of brand, because I'm sick of, I was at the time going to a few esports events to take photos for, and I was just sick of seeing people wearing Nike shorts and just whatevers. I wanted people to look good and feel good while they perform their games, and Mainframe stepped in and had kind of met that vision that I had, and I knew that was a good fit for me at the time. So worked with them for a while. That was kind of my first moray into the actual side of influencer marketing and consistent influential marketing. That first deal with the t-shirt was just kind of a one-off. They sent me one t-shirt. I made one post. Both sides were met. All was achieved. I performed well. They were happy. And then the relationship just, that was what they wanted, so that's what they got. But Mainframe wanted more. I wanted to grow with Mainframe as Mainframe wanted to grow with me. And that was kind of a really cool thing. So I grew with them a lot. I was kind of one of the first that was part of their program as they grew the business. And it was kind of cool to be close to a lot of the people that worked there. And it made a lot of sense for both parties at the time. I don't necessarily affiliate myself as much with them currently because I'll get into kind of who I am with now and the kind of pros and cons behind who and what to select when you're kind of vetting out who you want as a sponsor. But it was a great thing, and that really introduced me to a lot of what the business side was. So for those that don't know, a lot of sponsored deals are 10%. So you have a code, you can get somebody 10% off this purchase, and then you'll get 10% kickback. So from a business side, depending upon their margins, they're dropping 20% off the chain, but at the same time, depending upon, it's a gamble for them, because depending upon how much you sell depends upon how much they still are profiting, because obviously they'll still make money, or whether or not they do or don't, or if they're just in it for the relationships to build, or just the following that they have these discounted products, and maybe next time they forget to use the code, or whatever the case may be. Like, it's such a gamble, but when done right and when it succeeds, it's like hugely beneficial for these brands and these companies. So you look at GFUEL, for instance, like how many people are like, use code blah, myself and my fiance, use code DIDS, use code GamerGirl, 10% off your GFUEL, whatever that is. And then, they have guys like Keem, they have Roman Atwood now. Like, there's so many amazing influencers that they can sell tons and tons and tons of tubs because it's them on this product. And you look at what these brands focus on. They focus on who the faces are that are promoting this. They have to be very selective, and as much as you have to be selective with what you go out and try to get, they have to be selective with who they get to promote their brand. And you have to understand that, because if you do get declined, maybe it's just not a good fit now. Maybe they just don't see that you're maybe what they're looking for. But that's definitely something that is kind of a difficult thing to kind of know in advance. But as my dad would say, the power of asking is a beautiful thing. You can just ask, and if they say no, they say no. Personal relationships, I think, is huge, and I learned that really quickly with actually all of my sponsors. But like Mainframe was kind of my first chance at that. Like, when I have a sponsor, and I suggest this for everybody, when I have a sponsor, I'm not just there to say, okay, hey, here's X, use code Y to get Z off. It's so much more than that. When I get a sponsor, and I suggest this, like I said, for everybody, get to know the people behind that business. Get to know the people that work at that company. When I got GFUEL, I made sure that I didn't just know Pat. I knew it was Skylar at the time and Matt, but I knew Skylar, I knew Matt, I knew Nick, I knew the other Nick, I knew everybody that I could in that business, because when I then go and succeed, when I put my effort force and they see my effort force in promoting their product, and when they see it succeeding and they see my post performing well in comparison with my other posts, they are more inclined to say, okay, hey, you're doing amazing things. I would love to see what happens if we do this. Or a lot of companies, you can really get high up on the daisy chain of their business and get kind of to be a namesake in the company by knowing everybody. With IntoTheAm, I made sure that I knew everybody that I could. With Logitech, I knew as many people as I could. With Quest, I joined the Quest squad on Facebook, and I made it my point to know everybody in that group, because I think when you know people and you have those relationships, they're always available for if you need anything, if you want to talk about anything, if you have any advice to give, if they have anything to come to you. I find that with GFUEL, for a good chunk of time, if they needed something, they came to me, because they knew that I could deliver fast, they knew I could deliver well, and they knew that it would benefit them a lot. So that was something that was really cool in everything that I did. In a lot of companies that I had, I make sure that I am the go-to guy, no matter what that takes, whether that's performing well in your posts and being strategic with your posts, as a guy that's just me. My DidsLive brand is just me. I own the business, but everything that you see here is just me and how I go about my hobby. This is what I love doing on the side. So I put every ounce of my energy into the work that I do for these companies, and like I have a lot of them, but like just to my right, right now, I actually have a box of GFUEL that just came in, that I'm going to be making like a Christmas video with, and then underneath that is another box for Quest, which is a holiday challenge, and I'm super excited to do that holiday challenge for them as well. And like, I'm excited to get these opportunities because I know that I'm gonna crush them, and like that's not at all my ego coming out. That's just there is no other option, because if I crush these and I do so well with this content, whenever they need something, whenever they're like, hey, boom, need this for whatever reason. GFuel has come to me a lot of times like, hey, yo, Dids, we need this banner post. We need 2 shakers oriented to the right so we can put our banner here on the website. Like if you look on GFuel's website, more than likely you'll see 1 to 5 photos of mine on their website, just over the years being with them. And if they needed something for a quick buy one get one special, boom, let's ask Dids real quick. If they needed something for anything, it was really just boom, 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 let's check out Dids, let's see what he's up to. So that I've worked to get that. So building relationships within your influencer deals, I would say, is like the most important thing, arguably better than your actual sales, because if you can provide them with a good, healthy relationship, you can really get in the back door to do a lot of things within those companies. And if I were to say at the drop of a hat, yo, I'm coming to New York, I can hit up Pat or Nick or even Lauren or just about anybody and be like, hey, can I stop by the office? And they will say, yeah, absolutely you can, and great content will come, and it'll be cool to share each other on the Instagram stories and all that business. But like, you can go there and be welcomed with open arms. And that's just something that is really cool, because you're not just pushing product, you're creating relationships, and that goes into another topic that I want to touch on, which is totally not the order of which I wanted to do this podcast, but I'm kind of leading myself from one direction to the next, is to just, you're not selling product, you're selling relationships. And that's really an important thing. And that I've learned even more so with like my business, is just like, I'm not selling just this product. I'm not just selling you this tub of GFUEL. I'm not just selling you this shaker, which is actually got some hydration for me, and it just came in. I'm so happy. But like, I'm not just selling you guys that. I'm selling you the relationship between me and you, honestly, the person using code DIDS to buy that GFUEL, because it's not about necessarily the product. Like if you buy the product and you don't like it, then you're done anyway. But if you buy that product because you like what I do and I'm endorsing the right product, like you're going to residually buy that product, and you're going to support me, you're going to support what I do, what GFuEL does, and it just grows everything in so many different ways. And I think it's such a valuable thing to just know that whatever you do, make sure that it's something that fits your brand. I would not have the sponsors that I have if I didn't already like or use their products on a daily basis. This computer behind me here to my right has a wireless Logitech mouse and keyboard right now. I used to have a wired one, the G810 and the G600, but I wanted to go wireless, so I went out and got a wireless setup. My Hackintosh to my left has the Logitech Craft keyboard and the MK Master 2 mouse. I love those things, but I've used Logitech for years. Their speakers, their mice, their webcams, I've used their product for years. So when they messaged me and said, yo, let's work together, yeah, no brainer, absolutely. When GFuEL came around, ironically, my fiance was kind of cold called to an extent, like, hey, we love your work, you kill it on Instagram, let's work together. And I kind of got into the culture, and then I knew that was something that I wanted to do, but I was already drinking GFuEL, IntoTheAm, another amazing example. I was actually tagged by a friend of mine in one of their posts about a like a sweatshirt giveaway, and I didn't win the sweatshirt, but I'm like, heck yeah, that sweatshirt looks dope. It was the fox, the I don't want to, is it the Arctic fox? No, the fire wolf design. I forget exactly the name of it, but I bought one anyway, and I posted today. I would say it's a horrible picture, but I posted a picture of myself wearing the sweatshirt, and I posed and all this, and they were just starting out their influencer program, and they liked my profile, they liked what I'm about, and they were like, yeah, let's work together. And this was before the days of Skylar, but I was like, yeah, let's absolutely do this. But I look at the sponsors that I had, and as I was prepping for this episode, I thought to myself, who have I gone out and asked for? GFUEL, I definitely put the hammer to the nail a lot with them, but I think with my fiance being a part of their team and just the content that I was already producing for them, I think it made it easier for that ask. But I didn't ask with intent to just get, like I said, I'm selling the relationship. I built relationships with all of the people at GFUEL before I just straight up like, yo, you should give me this because I'm doing X, Y, and Z for you guys. That's not all how it works. So a lot of my sponsors I got by just posting photos of their product and regularly. But if you think about that, why did I find success in that? Because I built a true brand. And what I mean by that is I built a brand that was built around something positive, something wholesome. I'm like, obviously, yeah, you could say that like Keemstar has the controversy and all this stuff, but like for me, I didn't have hundreds of thousands of followers that already was like a brand that had numbers to really push no matter what. I was just that really cool dude that just had a good personality. He sucks at video games, but he's got this community behind him that's super, super strong and supports everything that he does. And that value held its weight in gold in getting GFUEL, getting IntoTheAm, getting Mainframe, getting all of these sponsors that I have. And, there are some that I definitely sign up for. Like, you can sign up for Razer affiliate link, you can sign up for Onnit affiliate link, and I technically have those as well, but, like, I don't really... you can sign up for those and you can get them. I didn't really ask anybody in the business for them. I wasn't approached by anybody in the business to get those. And, those are relationships that kind of fizzled their way out for me because I think, like, for me as well, I find I find more satisfaction. I don't know why I was trying to think gratification was a word, but I find more satisfaction in just, like, the ability to say, hey, I'm promoting IntoTheAm, but I want to know who the people are that I'm promoting them for. Like, if they're just a bunch of a-holes, like, I'm not going to want to get into that business at all. Or if it doesn't fit my brand, if I can't get along with these people, then how can I get along with their product? So for me personally, a lot of it was knowing the culture of the community and the brand before I got in it. Now, Logitech, I didn't necessarily know a lot of the people there initially. IntoTheAm, I didn't really know anybody there, but early on, that was like my first, like, whoa, hey, IntoTheAm, like, yeah, let's do this. I just bought your hoodie. It's dope. Let's work together. Let's make something cool happen. And this was initially one of the, like, the first times that I knew that I could also carry weight. IntoTheAm and GFUEL to this day are currently my top two performing sponsors. I'm not going to disclose how much or anything like that, but if you look at the numbers, like, GFUEL and IntoTheAm are the two sponsors that I sell the most product for. And honestly, a lot of that has come at a very big wave. Personal relationships, it's not all about business, obviously, but you have to curate your feed properly so that it's not just a bunch of fluff. If you look at my sales records, I'm currently selling more barely or not at all promoting anything than I did when I promoted way too much. If you look at when I first got a bunch of sponsors, so like I had IntoTheAm, I had GFUEL, I had like DeadFit as well. I had a few other ones behind me at the time, but every tweet seemed to be something about their product, or trying to think that putting a Gleam giveaway up was going to be like the end all be all. XSplit, another one that is an amazing sponsor of mine that I absolutely love. I'm able to promote their product, and I thought that by tweeting about their product and being like, hey, I'm providing value by giving 10% off is not at all the way to go. It's just not. The value is not in giving the money off. The value is in the relationship that you build with your audience because you have them as a sponsor. I don't approach anybody with a, hey, I'm a GFUEL sponsor, this is why you should think I'm great. I approach them as, hey, here's this product. If you find yourself yawning at the end of your streams or dying to get that little boost of energy in your battle royale games, like, here's what you should do. I love the people at this company. They are amazing people. They play video games live on Twitch too. You should totally go check them out. I'm selling the relationship more so than I'm selling the product, and you have to curate your feed accordingly. So now when I post a photo, now obviously it helps that I take photos, but really, like, the way iPhone cameras are and stuff these days, like, you can take an amazing photo with anything. The best camera is the camera that you have. I'm a firm believer in that. But being able to curate your feed is huge, and it's critical because you don't want to oversell your product, just like any salesman. You don't want to oversell a car because you're definitely going to lose that sale. And like for car dealerships, that's bad. That's really, really bad. And for me, I tanked. My community kind of went up in arms and revolted against me for a little bit because all I did was tweet, hey, yo, check out this photo I took. It's of a GFUEL shaker. It's in a tree again. Guess what, guys? 10% off. And it just got super annoying and super worn out, and I totally could see it. But I just kept throwing it at the wall, hoping eventually something would stick. And, oh, hey, GFUEL retweeted this one. Yo, check out all this new interaction. Check out all these impressions. And what I didn't see was that the impressions were of people that saw the retweet and just follow anything that GFUEL does. What I didn't see is that the people that actually follow me, that like every one of my other tweets, are now not liking my tweets anymore. And I panicked. Super straight up panicked. I had no idea how to fix that. I had no idea what to do about it. I just did not know. I was like, I have these amazing sponsors. These people should just like love me because I'm able to give them these great deals. But that's not what it's about. And like, I've learned a lot. And the reason that I'm making this podcast and doing this for you guys is because I've gone through this 100% trial by fire. And I've learned what works and what doesn't work. And I want to provide that value to you guys so that you don't make the same mistakes, because I just want to see everybody have that same success. Now, one thing that's super, super important based on that, don't oversell, don't over curate your feed, is stuff. Let me point. Hold on. Right about there. Stuff like this. Stuff like this. This is subtle. You guys don't notice this. You guys don't notice the fact that I drink out of a GFUEL shaker. You notice it, but this subtle sip of a shaker that has GFUEL in it, that is a GFUEL shaker, means a whole lot more to you guys than me saying I have 10% off with this code that you should totally use, because that's shoving it down your throat. This is me enjoying time with you. Taking this sip, for those that are listening on an audio platform, taking plenty of sips of the GFUEL hydration formula, that means so much more than me throwing it down your neck, because you get annoyed if I do that. If I just keep saying, yo, you should do this, this is great, like this for me, please. Like, that's not what's going to get you sales. That's not what's going to get you clout. That's not what's going to get you long-lasting relationships. That might get you one sale, but they ain't coming back because you approached it in a very bad way. And if they do, they're not using your code. They're going to find Keemstar's code. They're going to be like, oh, hey, check out this sale. Somebody's got 30% off, I will always use a lesser percentage code for somebody that I support before I use a higher percentage code for somebody that I don't. And that's key. That is absolutely key. So that's something to look out for. So don't oversell. Make sure you curate your feed and your content. Another one is to be selective. I'm running out of these points faster than I thought, so we'll hopefully drag this one on for a bit. Be selective with who you have. And I know that I've kind of touched about this, but like for me, the fashion side of it, like I have a lot of relationships with like people that can get clothes, which is kind of cool. Like my closet right now is just, I mean, I separated it with the whole switch to minimalism, but right now I have a whole half. So like my clothes are currently split in half. The bottom half of my closet right now is the minimalism wardrobe. The top half of my closet right now is sponsored t-shirts, sweatshirts, etc., which is like right now an even Steven battle. I love clothes. I do. I'm gonna totally be honest with that. But like when my friend took me in that IntoTheAm photo, I loved the design. Like for those that don't know, like go check out their website. Not at all trying to push a sale here, but like their designs are out of this world, like all of them. And now I'm like, one of the designers, like I talk to every so often on Instagram, like is so cool, such a cool person. And like, again, building relationships. I'm not just, when I sell a product that blah, so-and-so is the designer, I want to go like send that designer a message like, yo, this is amazing. And from a reverse side, I actually do want to have Skylar from IntoTheAm on the show in maybe a few weeks or so to talk about it more from his side. But like for them, like they're able to bring in all of these people that love their designs and curate who they want to have on their affiliate team. And this is kind of just a super, super, super important thing. Community is huge, and I'm really trying not to overlap stream topics, so forgive me if I do. But like community is huge in how I've been able to go about what I do, and both the rise to over curating and overselling my feed to the fall of me at where I am now. My life has changed a lot, and my sponsors have reflected that. Like I'm not necessarily huge into the fitness side anymore. So Too Fit, On It, Dead Fit. I don't necessarily promote those products as much as I used to. I'm very much into the healthy side of things. So like the fact that GFUEL just released the new hydration formula, and I know that I'm going to get comments saying, yo, Dids, you said GFUEL way too much in this podcast, but literally just using this as an example, please, if you're going to use somebody's code, use my fiance's. It is Gamer Girl for those interested. I absolutely am just using these for example, so please don't take it the wrong way. But I was able to bring all of this in and build the relationships because my community knew when I got GFUEL, I already had IntoTheAm, and I was doing really, really well with IntoTheAM at the time. And when I got GFUEL, like, yes, GFUEL's a big name, and like that definitely helped, but people swarmed around it because they knew that I supported it. They knew that it was something that I supported. And because I built that community, over time, my community swarmed to that community as well. They swarmed to GFUEL because they knew that they could trust anything that I was selling to them. And that's huge. You don't want to go for a company that doesn't fit your brand. It's not going to help you. It's not going to help that brand. That relationship will fizzle out, and you'll be right back to where you are, minus the time that you wasted trying to make that work. So, like trying to push On It or Razer or anything like that right now isn't a good fit. Selling Logitech, they have so many different forms of like ways to, like the Craft keyboard. Like I love that thing. I absolutely love that thing. It is incredible. Like GFUEL with that, like IntoTheAM, like I still wear my IntoTheAM streetwear line into the office like on a regular basis. It fits me. And the most beautiful thing about having all of these sponsors and building all these relationships is like now I can go and I have contacts at every one of my sponsors, and I make sure of that, and I'm able to say, hey, I have this idea, what about this? I can approach Pat at GFUEL and say, how are you doing with your marketing? Do you need help? Can I help you push something in any way? Is anything coming up? Any big sales coming up? And IntoTheAm, I've got to get back into that relationship definitely more, and I do intend to very, very soon. But like that, like I'm able to wear a sweatshirt on stream, and people would be like, "Yo, where's that sweatshirt from?" And I'm like, "Yo, hit up my man Skylar if you want more information, or check out the link in the description, or whatever the case is." I'm able to go to Skylar and be like, "Hey, I have this idea for a not a commercial necessarily. I don't have that kind of production ability, but here's this idea that I have. What can we do about it? Can we make something work? Can we work something out together?" I'm able to approach a lot of my sponsors that it makes sense for them as well, if they're smaller in most cases, is to just be like, "Yo, let's team up. Christmas is coming up. Let's make some content. Let's do a quick little giveaway, $25, whatever. You're going to get so many hits. You're going to get so many impressions." And that's super important. So then that brings me to another point that I didn't write down, but I actually do want to touch on, is numbers do and don't matter. I've talked a lot about community. I've talked a lot about a lot of other things here, but like numbers, I don't ever think that like I got a sponsor because of my numbers, because really, like when I got a lot of the ones that I have now, they like really weren't that good. They really weren't. But proving a community is something that's super important. And like I'll talk to Moji and I'll talk to Skylar about stuff like that, but future podcast teasers, by the way. But like those are super, super, super important details that like companies care about. They want to know who they're selling to, and if it's through you, like they want to tap into that community more so than anything. And what I've been able to do is use my community to get sales that I have for IntoTheAm and GFUEL specifically, so I can take those numbers and anybody be like, "Yo, here's how much I've sold in the last 12 months with X company. Here's what I can do for you." Like clearly there's a hankering on, just say like some companies are being mentioned in your Twitter feed that you should go check them out or something. Be like, "Hey, my community told me to check you guys out. Here's what I've done with this company. Here's how I think we can work together." And you can approach companies with that. But I don't think that me ever saying I get 100 likes a photo, I have thousands of followers, I don't think that ever once really was the reason that I got any sponsors. And it does work for a lot of people, but I don't think that I ever was under like a follower requirement. And like that's interesting too, because Logitech, when they released their G513, and I think I did one other one, I could be wrong, but I know the G513 for sure. Elgato especially as well, another great company sponsor of mine. Like they sent me their Stream Deck Mini before anybody else had it. They sent me a lot of their product before anybody else had it, and it was actually, I think, the first Stream Deck as well. The Cam Link, another option. The Stream Deck, the smaller one, the HD60 Mini, they sent me before anybody else had it, and I made YouTube videos on it. And what's funny is like when I posted the one that sticks out to me specifically is of the Logitech G513 video, I had so many comments that were like, "This guy only has like 1,000 and change subscribers. How does he have Logitech as a sponsor?" And like all these people like, "Yo, this kid knows nothing. He's only got 1,300 subscribers. How the heck did Logitech want to talk to him or even consider him?" And like the good and the bad behind that is like you look at anybody's social media channels, and it's not a matter of like, a lot of times one channel will dominate. So like I have a lot of followers on Twitter, I have a lot of followers on Instagram, I don't have that many followers on Twitch, I don't have that many YouTube subscribers, but I have that community and I have the numbers. So like my percent of engagement is a lot higher on YouTube and Twitch because I have a lot less like followers, I have a lot less following. So like my engagement rate looks like this in comparison to my Twitter and my Instagram feed. My Instagram right now is sitting at like a 2% engagement rate, which is not something I like. I would like to be 5 to 10%. I strive to be 5 to 10% on every platform, but like that's not always the case. And some platforms are going to be a lot more engaged than others, and some platforms are going to have a lot more following than others. It's just kind of a matter of how you approach it. You know, on Twitter, I'm able to go out and discover channels a lot easier than I am on, say, YouTube or Twitch, because I think, you know, Twitch is very community based, and once a community set, it's kind of hard to pound away at that. But you're able to eventually slowly get into these communities and these families, and I think your numbers will then slowly reflect that. But like, I love getting those comments because, you know, I see that those are people that think that numbers matter, and that's just not the truth. That's really just not the truth. You know, I only have, like, right now, at the time that I'm looking at my dashboard, I only have 11 people viewing this stream. Like, I can't sell this stream right now to anybody, but what I can sell is my community. I can sell that, like, you know, these 11 people are the dopest 11 people that are on this planet right now. Like, they follow me through hell and back if they had to, you know. And like, companies care about that. They don't care that you have 5,000 views and 4,000 of them are from a bot, because then the other, you know, 900 of those other 1,000 are probably going to be because you're randomly at a high point in the Twitch feeds. And like, that's just the reality behind it. You know, that 5,000 doesn't mean as much to them as somebody that has 85 viewers and they're all actively engaged in the chat. That's just a very big discrepancy that a lot of people see. And as I was thinking about, like, I was talking to Moji about coming onto the podcast, and I'm like, here's how I'm going to sell it. A lot of people like to go from A to C and forget what B is. And I think that's what I love about this podcast, is I'm able to bring out the B and show you guys what that looks like and how maybe my experience can help you. And that's actually, I think, how I'm going to end this podcast. I think that's kind of, I've touched everything that I wanted to talk about. If anybody has any questions in the Twitch chat right now, I would love to answer them. Before I go, I will finish this point, and then if there's nothing else, I will let you guys go. But, you know, I think that so often we see the people that have millions of followers and millions of likes, and you look at, my fiance sent me a picture of Khloe Kardashian the other day, and I was like, 1.5 million likes a photo. Like, that's crazy. People are so used to seeing that we don't necessarily understand how to get there. And I really hope that you forgive my rambling this episode. I thought I was a lot more organized than that, but I think I got a lot of points down. I think that I got everything that I want to get out. I think that, like, just to recap, like, this is a community. I'm selling you a relationship. I'm selling you a community. I'm not selling you the product. I'm not selling you the hard sell on the fact that you get 10% off this order with code blah. Like, that's just not what's going to work. I used to have every tweet be a sponsored tweet. Now I have maybe 1 to 5% of my tweets being a sponsored tweet. And I guess we can make up the fact, like, you know, you could just say that the percentage of tweets about sponsored products should maybe be about the percent of, like, your engagement rate, and maybe we can just, like, make that up as a thing. I don't know, but you can definitely take a lot of what I said today and kind of look at it and just, like, evaluate where you're at. You know, what do I want? What sponsors do I want? Okay, say I want, let's just throw a random company out there. Let's just say I want to work with Bethesda. I know that's not a company that sponsors people, but, like, if you want to work with Bethesda, you go on LinkedIn, you follow the people that work at Bethesda, and you're like, you build relationships with those people, and then you create a hard sell. So another example, we just had one of our new employees wanted to work with this company. I forget the name of it, but it has it's like a old school typewriter, but it remembers, I think, I forget, I could be wrong here, but I think it, like, remembers what you type, and then it comes out as, like, a USB stick, and you can plug it in, and then it'll, like, process, like, a normal keyboard onto, like, a Word doc or something. And he's like, yeah, I want to work with these guys. And I'm like, so what you do is you add them on LinkedIn, And maybe I just make a podcast that is strictly LinkedIn, because I think that actually there's a lot of business side, a lot of things on the business side that I can bring value to in that sense. But like a lot of it is just the relationship. So I told him, I said, message, find out who they have on LinkedIn or other social media platforms. If you don't have a LinkedIn, find people that work there and build relationships with those people. Because then when you go and approach them with send them a message like, hey, I love what you guys are doing. I'm not asking for anything, but I just want to get to know you guys. I want to get to know what you guys are up to. I want to be able to help if you guys need help with anything. Don't ask for anything. Just give. Give, reciprocate that give, because then you never know what they're going to reciprocate back at you. So in this instance, he did not get a message back yet, but I told him, I said, 3 months from now, you build your community, you build your LinkedIn, you build everything that you are and that represents you. In 3 months' time, you message him again in 3 months and say, hey, just checking in, would love to see if there's any way that I can help you guys out. When he goes and maybe he sees that message, then he goes back and says, shoot, this guy messaged me 3 months ago. Let's look at his profile. Looks back, scrolls down. Oh my gosh, look at how much progress this guy has made in the last 3 months. Look at everything that he's done in the last 3 months. Now I think this is definitely a relationship that I see working for both of us. I think this is something, he's done a lot of work on his end. He's already been interested. I see that he's already sent me a message, so he's not just, hey, I want to just message you and just get something out of you quick and then move on. He's definitely interested long term, because now it's been 3 months. He's messaged me again, checking in via the last one. He's remembering these things. He's super engaged in what we do. He's been engaged in our content, and like that's super, super important, because now in 3 months' time, he can message them again. Maybe they say yeah. Maybe they send him a free USB typewriter or keyboard. You never know. It's just, you'd rather have those relationships built and those seeds planted, because if I go and I message him, I have thousands of followers now. Well, okay, what does that thousands of followers mean? What's your engagement rate? What do those people do? How do they react to your work? How do they purchase from your work? When people look at my channel, I'm able to sell my community, I'm able to sell the DidsFam, I'm able to do all these things that other streams or other people necessarily might not be able to, because they just have numbers. Hey, watch my stream. Okay, that's all I need. I just have numbers now, but that's not what it's about. So yeah, that is, I think, where I'm going to end this. If you would like to be on the show, or that's somebody that would like to be on the show, send them my way. I would love to chat. This is actually, I'm working out the schedule. It might work out, you guys. Sundays at 7 p.m. Central, live on Twitch. Wednesdays at some point during the day whenever I have time. Up on Anchor, which is iTunes, Spotify, Google, Overcast, whatever they're called. Everything, and YouTube as well. I'm for now going to just be ripping straight from the stream, so any follows and things like that that come in, you can see through the channel on YouTube. And if you want to rewatch it, so a lot of things that I did today were kind of visual nomers, and I was able to kind of show things behind me as subtle hints that aren't down your throat advertisements that help you want to maybe buy product more, as a smart way to approach your influencer deals. Feel free to watch on YouTube. But yeah, thank you seriously so much. I'm excited to see where this goes. I'm excited to see where I can take this. I love this. This is so much fun to me, and I want to be able to provide a bunch of value for everybody. So thank you so much for watching. Don't forget, if you could leave a rating on this on any platform or check it out on YouTube, that would be huge. For those that are live on Twitch, I do stay a little bit after, so feel free to come check it out if you're listening to this post stream, but I do stay and chat a little bit after. But thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time, I will see you on the internet.